Folks. Welcome to season 7 of our On the Call series produced by the Stars Among Us. And I'm Ozzy, as you know, and I'm very, very happy that you have tuned in to this thank you tour of mine. As you know, each episode is a thank you card to those who have impacted my life. And on this first episode of season 7, I'm shining light on Mr. Theodore William Lange III. Hello, Theodore.
Ta-ta! That's me, Theodore the Third.
Yes. Let me tell you, folks, who Theodore William Lange III is. Okay, his parents both worked in theater and television. He graduated from Oakland Tech, where he was class and student body president, ended up majoring in drama at San Francisco City College, and then he won a scholarship to the University of Colorado's Shakespearean Festival. But he became a Shakespearean trained graduate of London's prestigious Royal Academy. Theodore, otherwise known as Ted Lange, became known in Hollywood circles following his attention-grabbing performance in the original Broadway production of the musical Hair, which led to a starring role in Black Belt Jones and on the sitcom That's My Mama. And before he started on The Love Boat, got that? The Love Boat was a professor at the University of California, where he gained celebrity on Love Boat as the favorite bartender. And prior to becoming a household name, he also appeared in theater and film. Now, he wrote also, you may not know, folks, 6 episodes and directed 17 episodes of The Love Boat, created over a dozen screenplays, including Love Boat and the film Passing Through, which we'll get to later. He received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in recognition of his contribution to the history of television for his work on The Love Boat. Like, folks, I'm sure you didn't know that. Directed 28 TV series, might be more by this point, and movies, going back to Moesha, Brandy, The Next Wave, The Wayans Brothers, Fantasy Island, and more. And I'm sure you guys did not know that in 1997, he was the co-chairman of the African American Steering Committee for the Directors Guild of America, DGA, one of the guiding forces of the Directors Guild Fellowship Program, instituted to develop job opportunities, listen, in this Women's History Month, to develop job opportunities for women and ethnic minorities. Bing, bing, bing. You guys didn't know that. He's laughing. Now,
yes.
As far as his theater directing, he received the NAACP's Renaissance Man Theater Award, the Heroes and Legends Hal Lifetime Achievement Award, and the Dramalogue Award. He's been a recipient of the James Cagney Directing Fellow Scholarship Award from the AFI, American Film Institute, along with the Paul Robeson Award for the Oakland's and Ensemble Theater. I wonder where he's keeping all these awards. We'll find out later. Anyway, he's received the Artistic Director Achievement Award as the director of an original play for his comedy, Lemon Meringue Facade. And I've got to tell you something. When I was living in England, lemon meringue pie was all that I used to love eating with some whipped cream on top. And on top of that, he won the Dramalogue Award for Outstanding Directing of The Visit. Lange received the Oakland Ensemble Theater Paul Robeson Award. Anyway, he's written 22 plays. I wonder if there are more by now. We're going to ask him. I have a special interest of this one, for this one. 4 Queens, No Trump, played to rave reviews in LA and won the NAACP Best Play Award as well. Particularly, he co-wrote The Heart of the Biddy Mason, a jazz musical with noted jazz musician Gerald Truckman, and his screenplay, as we said before, Passing Through, film score was arranged by Horace Tapscott, featuring music by the great Eric Dolphy, Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, and Sun Ra, as well as a live performance by the Pan African People's Orchestra. Now, all of that, I've got to say, that segment was sponsored by the National Jazz Museum in Harlem, founded in 1995, dedicated to the preservation, celebration, and presentation of jazz history locally, nationally, and internationally under world-renowned co-artistic directors, the great John Batiste and Christian McBride, also under the skillful management of Executive Director Tracy Heiter-Suffern. Check out their monthly program. And now, you can allow Mr. Theodore Ted Lange.
Wow, that's a heck of an introduction. Thank you, Ozzy.
You totally deserve it, and I am so happy to learn so much about you and to let my people know that there is more to the Love Boat, to the Love Boat's Ted Lange. Isaac.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, first question is, there is a rumor that Ted Lange had a particular fondness for a particular star at the time. I call her DC. And this was someone that, for some reason, Ted found himself repeating and repeating and couldn't get his line straight.
And what is this from?
This is from the back when Love Boat was happening. For some reason,
oh, I know what you're talking about.
He couldn't get his lines correct 15 times.
Yes, that's true. That's very true. That was a delightful mistake, a wonderful error.
Yes.
And I truly enjoyed it. And the DC that you're talking about is yes. Diane Carroll.
Correct.
And the scene that you're talking about is when I take this lovely woman in my arms and I kiss her.
Yes.
And I had to do it 15 times at least.
I can't believe that she was so sweet to allow it.
Yeah, she did. Well, after 15, after 14, actually, she said, one more chance, that's it, buddy. Yeah, she was really a classy, wonderful lady. She really was.
Yes, it's funny because when you see certain people you really wonder if they are true inside as they show themselves outside to be.
Yes, well, she was. I met a couple who aren't, but she wasn't one of them. She was very, very sweet, very generous. Because I was, I was a young kid in a sense and still learning the craft, and she was very helpful to me.
Right. So of that whole Love Boat time, those years that you spent there, have you stayed close to those folks?
Yes, as I was saying to you, I have a meeting, a Zoom meeting tomorrow. I'm going to be directing the stage play Inherit the Wind, and I'm going to be doing that with Fred Grandy, who played Gopher on the Love Boat. So he and we're going to be doing, if you're in Syracuse, New York, or if your podcast goes out across the country, if you're in or near Syracuse, you might want to check on a theater called the Red House Theater, because we both will be there. I'm going to be directing, he's going to be acting, and we're doing this production. And we're getting a lot of the people that we like to be a part of this experience.
Mhm. Nice. Nice.
Yeah, that'll be next year. I don't have a date yet. That's what I'm going to find out tomorrow. I don't have a date, but keep your eyes peeled for Inherit the Wind, starring Fred Grandy, directed by me, Ted Lange.
Wow. That's, because you have an idea of, because again, and sometimes it's because of typecasting. You see a person a certain way, and then you have to picture them another way. It's very intriguing to want to go and see what happens.
It's a good play, and it's more relevant today with all of the stuff that's going on in Florida and them getting
Mhm.
upset about teaching, certain things. This play becomes just as relevant today as it was when it was first produced back in the 1950s.
You're doing more theater now than you were doing film. Is that it?
I find myself doing more theater. I just directed a play called Satchmo at the Waldorf
Mhm.
with an actor named L. Peter Callender, who's a brilliant actor, brilliant. And we both got rave reviews out of this production. I did it in San Jose. And that's the beauty of what I get to do is it takes me around the country and sometimes out of the country to do my apply my trade. So he and I did Satchmo at the Waldorf. He played Louis Armstrong. Then he also played two other roles. He played Miles Davis, and he played Joe Glazer, who was Satchmo's manager, Joe Glazer,
Mhm.
and he was fabulous.
Mhm.
And at times you're watching it and you think you're looking at Satchmo. He's so good,
Mhm.
and it's really the gloves are off and he's telling his truths as being the number one trumpet player
Mhm.
and innovator
Right.
of jazz back when he was a young man. It's a tour de force uh performance. He really is and that's what I like about what I do. I go around the country, like I've written now my plays. You said 22. Now my plays are up. I have 26 plays. And I have what I call my Black Lives Matters play. And it takes place, it's two black guys uh trying to get over on some women. And I'm going to be doing, we did a reading of it at the Ensemble Studio Theater, which is in Houston, and I look forward to doing that hopefully next year. They're very interested in the play. We did a reading, and the audience reaction was really, really good.
Mhm.
So that's what I do. I go around, and I have the time now, the free time, to do my plays or direct television or direct a film.
Is there a preference, like between?
No, there's not a preference because for me it's like dessert. I mean, do you want apple pie? Or do you want chocolate cake? I mean,
Right.
so,
Right.
uh, I really enjoy the arts and I enjoy the creative aspects of the arts.
Right.
And that's what I was doing. I was working on uh, Inherit the Wind.
Mhm.
And, they had like 35 actors in the play
Wow.
when they first. Now I've cut it down and we're down to about 16 or 17 actors
Mhm.
with people doing multiple parts.
Mhm.
But I really love solving the creative problems
Mhm.
that comes along with each play or each television show, filming it. If how do you get the shot? What do you do if you don't have enough time? It's a fascinating and really a soul fulfilling uh, thing that I've taken on as my creative expression.
Mhm.
Whether it's television or theater.
But I guess coming from where you come from, whether it's Shakespearean or an actor, you
Yeah,
must be um, much more cognizant of actors as a director.
I love actors. And, any actor tell you when they're working with me, I tell a lot of stories.
Mm.
I'll give you an example. I had directed Love Boat with Susan Strasberg,
Mm.
and I was directing a pilot for Jill Whelan. And I had this actress who was uh, doing a scene, and she had to walk down the street. But before I directed her on walking down the street, I told her this story. I said, listen, I did Love Boat, and I directed Susan Strasberg, and she was very good friends with Marilyn Monroe.
Mm.
And one day the two of them are walking down the street in New York together, and Marilyn Monroe says to her, do you want to see her? And Susan said, what do you mean see her? She says, her. Do you want to see her? Meaning her Marilyn persona.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said, yeah, sure. Let me see her. And so Marilyn Monroe changed her walk as they were walking down the street. And all the guys were stopping and turning and looking, and construction guys were whistling and all of that, because she brought out Marilyn Monroe. So when I told this girl the story, we did the first take, and she walked down the street. And then I went up to her and I said, let me see you bring your Marilyn Monroe out.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl got it immediately. There was no like, what do you mean? What do you tell you?
Mm-hmm.
She got it immediately. She changed her walk, and it was exactly perfect, because she was a sexy girl anyway,
Right,
but she was just walking naturally.
right,
But when I told her, I had told her the story about Marilyn Monroe. So I said, hey, give me your Marilyn Monroe.
right.
And that girl turned it on, and it was perfect.
Job well done.
Yeah.
Satisfaction on both ends. Let me ask you something. Who was your mentor or mentors?
I got lucky with teachers.
Mm-hmm.
My first teacher, when I was in the 9th grade, he introduced me to being an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And he cast me because I was the kid in the back of the classroom that was always making jokes and stuff like that. So he cast me as um, Ebenezer Scrooge in A Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Then and the play was a big success, I became very popular with the students in school.
Mm-hmm.
And that teacher said to me, he said, Ted, I'm going to do Macbeth, the Scottish play.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to play the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh man, fantastic,
Mm-hmm.
He goes, however, if you crack jokes in my class, if you make little disruptions, do your little jokes about me and what the subject is, I'm going to give that part to Donald Germany. And I said, no, you can't give that part to Donald Germany. And I was good for the whole semester leading up to the play. I wouldn't make any jokes and he knew what he was doing.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, I played that lead. That was also very successful. And then I went to high school. That was junior high school, 9th grade. Then I went to the 10th grade in high school, and they had me down. The counselor put me in auto shop.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really want to be in auto shop. I wanted to be in drama.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to my counselor and I said, hey, I want to be in drama. They said, well, you need to find a craft. You have to be able to, know how to get a job, and we're targeting you for being in a garage. You'll be able to make money, that way. And I said, well, that's not what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to be an actor,
Mm.
and I want to learn more about acting.
Mhm.
So they switched it. And that guy, the drama teacher from my high school, remained my friend up until the day he died. He died last year.
Wow.
And he was my friend. And whenever I got into trouble or I got depressed or whatever, I would call him. And I say, Tom, this is that, and that's this, and that. It's kind of tough. I'm in New York. I'm trying to get on Broadway. He said, don't worry, you will. You got talent. He was always my champion.
Mhm.
So he was my mentor. And this is a white guy. This is a white teacher. This was
Mhm.
back in the day, in the 60s, in the Bay Area. He
Mhm.
was a white guy, and he was like my dad and my mentor. And and he and his wife used to take me to ballets
Mhm.
and operas, and he's saying, look, if you're going to be an actor, you need to know this.
Mhm.
And so he and his wife they went beyond the call of
Mhm.
duty, and it wasn't just what I learned in the classroom, but he also arranged for me to broaden my vision.
Mhm.
And I remember when I was first starting out, and you talk to someone about La Boheme, and they'd go, how do you know about La
Right.
Boheme?
Right.
Because they didn't see that. And the same thing with Shakespeare. He broadened my horizon on Shakespeare. We did I've done Macbeth 3 times.
Mhm.
The second time I did it with him, and he allowed me to look at the play not just as traditional Shakespeare, but he said you can have fun with this and experiment with it. And we had jazz music, Miles Davis, under the soliloquies when we were doing Macbeth. So he was a wonderful teacher, great guy, and he loved teaching. That was the thing about him. He loved being a teacher,
Mhm.
and he passed on some wonderful tools for me.
You were very, very fortunate to have somebody like that and to take you through your life.
Yeah, his name is Tom Wayne. His wife was Phyllis, and they were my mentors. And oddly enough, I did a television show, and I got them a cruise on the Love Boat. So I said, "This is payback. You get to go to the Caribbean on the Love Boat,
Oh,
and thank you."
oh.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. It was fun. He was very appreciative.
So at this point in your life, what more would you like to achieve?
Well, right now I'm doing a lot of writing. Like you talked about uh Biddy Mason, The Heart of Biddy Mason,
Yeah.
that a musical I wrote with Gerald Trotman. Gerald and I are working on another musical right now, and we are adapting Shakespearean iambic pentameter into a musical.
Wow.
It's gonna be hip. It's not gonna be like an opera,
Mhm.
but it is gonna be the format of it is that every line will be sung,
Wow.
you know? And it's a thing I wrote called The Heart of Shylock. No, excuse me, The Tears of Shylock.
Mhm.
And so we're gonna do that, and we're working on that now. And he and I meet maybe twice a month because he lives in Nashville
Mhm.
and I live in California. But he has a gig that he has to come to in California.
Mhm.
And when he comes, he and I get together and we go over the show. And so we look hopefully towards the end of the year being able to do a workshop version of it.
So let me ask you, how many projects are you presently working on?
Well, I'm working on that with Gerald, the Shylock project. I'm working on Inherit the Wind with Fred Grandy from Love Boat. And I'm working on Blues in My Coffee for the Ensemble Theater in Houston. So that's
Wow.
3 right now. I got an offer to do another play, but it really isn't my cup of tea. So what I do is I then read it, take notes, and send it back to the playwright or
Mm,
the producer and say, here, I can't do this, but here's some things you should be aware of,
mhm.
so that I don't waste my time doing
Right,
something I don't really want to do,
right.
and they haven't wasted their time by giving it to me to look at it, you know?
But it's
Now
also,
they don't have to take any of the suggestions that I give.
but at the
But
same time, by your taking your time and putting that, giving them the notes is an act of giving, that's
yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah, it is.
but you
It
don't have
is.
to do that either.
No, no, I don't. I don't.
Mm.
So that's where I am right now. So,
So you're working on
you know,
those three, and
mm,
um, how many do you have up right now?
well, I had the Satchmo thing just closed last week. A
Right.
week ago today, it just closed in San Jose. But
Mhm.
we're gonna take that around. We're trying to get some other theaters. I'm gonna take that. I'm planning 2 years in advance because we're gonna go to the National Black Theater Festival in Winston-Salem, and we're gonna Peter and I are gonna take that show there. So that's in the summer, August of 24. We'll be in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, doing that. So you kind of like plot out where you can go and what you can do, and
But you seem to be
sometimes I
very
solicit. If you're interested in reading my plays, you go on Amazon,
right.
you type in my name, Ted Lange, and I've got 2 plays, 2 books. It's a half dozen plays. There are 2 trilogies. One
Mm,
is called Shakespeare Over My Shoulder.
mhm,
If you're interested in reading my writing, Shakespeare Over My Shoulder is 3 Shakespearean themed plays.
mm,
And then I've got 3 historical plays. One
mm.
is about George Washington, the second one is about John Brown, and the third one is about the Confederate First Lady of Verena Davis,
Mhm.
and a black slave girl who was a spy for the Union.
Mm.
The girl is named Mary Bowser. That was a successful play too. I did that here in LA. But
Mhm.
anyway, if they're published books now, so if you're interested in kind of reading some of my work, you can go on Amazon and they're available there.
Okay, you hear that, my audience? Good. Get it done. Get
All right, get
it.
her done. Get her done.
What is that thing about what you do that makes you love what you do?
Well, Ozzy, I was an average student. I mean, totally 100% average. I was average in math. I was average in English. I was average in um, everything, just average. But the one place that I found that I shine in was when I did plays in junior high school and college. And junior high school was the first time I ever got an A in a class. As you got C, 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 A, C, C, C. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like it jumped out at me.
Mhm.
And I happened to really like what I did. I mean, I can do math, but I don't necessarily love it. Some people love it and then they become accountants or whatever, but I had no affinity for that.
Mhm.
But theater, man, I just loved it. And I love watching movies and talking back to the screen. I mean, I love all of that.
Mhm. Hmm. What What is the best advice you've ever been given?
Don't give up. Because they're gonna beat you down. They're gonna kick the crap out of you. But the whole idea is that once you're down there and you look up, you don't give up. You roll over on your knees and stand up again. You know, you're flat on your back. Doesn't look like it's gonna work. Doesn't look like you're ever gonna have any headway. You just roll over, get on your knees, and then you stand up
Mm.
and you go on with it. And if you love what you do, uh, they can't really criticize you. Sometimes, you know, they say, "Oh, this is the worst performance ever." And you can't let that hurt you,
Mm.
because sometimes they write reviews to hurt you.
Mhm.
And but you can't let it hurt you. You have to shrug it off, you know, and stand up and go for the next one, you know, because at some point you're going to be very successful and they're going to say, "Oh, well, this guy can act," or
Mhm.
"This guy's a great writer."
Mhm.
And that has to carry you till the next project that you're involved with. But so that an old guy told me, he said, "Never give up. Never ever give up." And that's what I try to do.
I once said to somebody, I really love this acting business, right? So I must be crazy. And this person said back to me, "Of course you're crazy. We all are in this business. But isn't it wonderful?"
Yes.
You you
Yes.
said that to me years ago. You It made it into my book. I never forgot it.
Yeah.
It helped push me forward many a time.
Yeah, there you go, Ozzy. There you go. And that's the deal, you know? Because really, who with common sense would do something like we do? Nobody. And thank goodness we don't have common sense. Yeah. Yeah.
They only need it in the political arena, you know?
Yeah. 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 Well, I'm looking at some of those guys now,
Oh,
like Trump and George Santos and all those guys, these liars. You
mhm,
know, I've come to the conclusion that they're not going to arrest this guy Trump because the system is designed for him to do all of the wrong that he's done and not really suffer the consequences. Whereas a poor person, a poor white guy that does what he does, will suffer. But this guy is rich and they're not letting him suffer. So Ron DeSantos, now they're indicting this guy, you know, because he lied. He's a true Republican. That's what I say. Everybody's shocked that he's lied. I said, no, 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 Santos, this guy's a 100% a Republican because they lie like crazy. And the stuff that came out on Fox, where Tucker Carlson and Hannity, they knew that this stuff was not true and they lied. You know, these guys lie. So what are you mad at this guy for?
right.
You know, he's not rich, but he's doing what you do. He lies. Yeah,
One of
man.
my questions was to you was what concerns you about the world today?
Well, the world is fine. It's just the people that are living in the world, they have a problem. You know, no matter what. A guy told me one time, I was talking and I was really upset. And the guy said, "What are you worried about?" I said, "Well, they're destroying the earth." And the guy said, "The earth will survive. The question is whether man will survive, because we're just a blip on the screen." And he said, "You have nothing to worry about. Earth will be here, you know?" But these guys are so greedy and they're such liars. So, you know, like we could solve the arms problem of people arming themselves with handguns and AK-47. We could solve it tomorrow if we wanted to,
Right.
but they're greedy. They want the money from the NRA. They want the money from, to pass these bills. Joe Manchin, Biden had a $2 trillion deal happening, and two people stopped it because somebody from the right paid them. Now, I can't prove it, but by them being Democrats and stopping it, I am assuming, this is my opinion and my opinion only, that somebody paid Joe Manchin maybe $1 million not to vote a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And they sit up there and they lie to your face. They take the money and screw you, So I don't have any sympathy for them, but that's not going to stop me from doing my art.
Right.
That's why I'm an artist, because I can then talk about, what can I say, their corruptness.
Mm-hmm.
They are so corrupt. Ozzy, these guys. And now with this other guy, George, whatever his name is, the lying Republican congressman, now it's just blatant. It turns out he's been lying his whole life.
Yes.
These guys have no shame. They have no integrity. They're just greedy little bastards that want money and power.
Mm-hmm.
If they got the money, then they want the power.
So that said, what has been the upside? And this is the last question. What has been the upside of these 2 crazy years, or 3 crazy years?
Well, I mean, the upside is first of all, we got a decent guy in there that's doing things for the people, which Republicans seem to ignore. I mean, he's getting rid of school debt because that is a corrupt thing. You know what I was listening to today? Now these corporations are hiring children to work in meat packing, and all of that, and they're paying them pennies on the dollar.
Right.
They're getting phony IDs.
Yeah.
The phony ID says this 14 or 15-year-old kid is 25, and the corporations are saying, well, we thought he showed me ID that he was 25 years old, so that's why we hired him. Now, who does the government get mad at? They're getting mad at the guy that made the ID, not the corporation that hired him. Get out of here with that. That is the silliest thing ever.
Right.
You're supposed to reprimand the guy that's utilizing child labor, knows he's utilizing child labor, and they won't touch him. They're all in on this game, and then they go for the little man as a kind of a thing to solve what they call is the problem, which doesn't solve the problem.
Right.
These guys, they're greedy, no integrity, they lie about everything, and they want their power, they want their money.
Sometimes, I would lay down and lay back flat and just breathe deeply. Because every morning you wake up and you listen to some sort of nonsense, you begin to wonder, what is it all about? What is it for? Why am I here? You have all these crazy things, and then you have to just breathe, let it go, and as you say, move on. Don't let anything of what you need to do for yourself, because it's all like white noise.
They want you to carry that burden.
Right.
And as long as you don't carry it and do what's good for yourself and your head and you moving forward, you beat them.
Right.
You win.
Right.
But if you succumb to all of the negativity that they're putting out there, then they win.
Right.
And I don't want them to win.
Right.
And you shouldn't want them to win. You should live your best life, regardless of all of the crap that's going on. You should live your best life.
Thank you.
And treat yourself.
Now that's the thing I have to start doing. And this is why I'm doing things this season in a different way. It's tougher. It's a lot more complex. It's a lot more challenging, but I'm forging ahead. I have got to say that I have laid back on my back sometimes to take a deep breath, but I've gotten up again and moved forward.
That's it. You got to persevere. That's what they said. Don't give up.
Yes. And I'm so thankful that you decide that call came through and that you're here. So thankful.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And I, people check out his books on Amazon. He's gonna let me know what's happening with his play in Syracuse, so I'll be able to put something out to you guys on my IG, etc. And folks, thank you very, very, very much for spending your valuable time with us today with Mr. Theodore Lange, otherwise known as Ted Lange, right? Please take care. And remember, when you're on your beat, stay on the sunny, sunny side of the street safely. Be health conscious and kind to one another. And don't forget to give thanks for the little and big gifts. Ted.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this time. I really
it was so delightful to reconnect with you.
Yes. Thank you.
And the next time I'm in New York, I hope I get to see you, break bread with you.
Yes.
And I'll let you know what project I'm doing when I'm there, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
In and out of New York. Let me know the projects you're up to.
Okay. Will do.
All right. Thank you. Love you very much. Thank you for being in my life with reference to my book in the very, very, very beginning stages. Thank you for the lines that you gave me that I could put in my book and be proud of putting in my book that you've said to me that have carried me forward, that have stayed with me. Thank you for your art and again, your time.
Thank you, Oz.
Talk to you soon. Okay,
right,
people.
bye-bye.
Till the next. Bye.
Hey there. Please help us in our mission to support those facing fatal diseases through our t-shirt sales by donating or shopping at OzzieStewart.com or supporting us at anchor.fm/OzzieStewart. That's ANCHOR.FM/OzzieStewart. And don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel at Ozzie Stewart. Yep. Leave a comment.